Welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Experience podcast, inside the business, buzz, and brilliance of Black entrepreneurs. Here is your host, Dr. Frances Richards.
What happens in Vegas goes all over the world on Black Entrepreneur Experience, episode number 398. Thank you for joining us as we elevate the Black Entrepreneur Experience by interviewing CEOs, thought leaders, innovative thinkers, and Black entrepreneurs across the globe. I'm your host, Dr. Frances Richards. Are you an independent retail business owner that is ready to improve brand positioning, increase sales, and attract customers through proven merchandising, marketing, and sales strategies? You want to lean in and listen to the founder of Creative Visual Solutions, a retail sales coaching company. Welcome, Nichole Sims.
Hi there.
I've given our audience such a brief bio. Why don't you fill in the gaps and share with our audience what you want them to know about you and your business?
Okay, great. Well, thank you for the great introduction. Well, basically, I help independent retail owners and fashion brands. So if you have a retail business and you're either online or brick and mortar, I really do a lot of sales and marketing strategies to get you to the next level in your business. So a lot of times we are in these businesses and we're in the midst of them, in the thick of them, and we're hitting walls or we're getting to certain levels of success, but we're not getting any further. And you don't know why. You're having good success, you have a good customer base, you're doing sales, but you can't seem to grow. That's why I give you the strategies. I'm looking from the outside in. Using my 35 years of experience, I've been in the retail industry for 35 years. So I know how to run a retail business. I know all the ins and outs of a retail business, whether being brick and mortar or online. And I give you those strategies to really help you go past the next level to what you've been doing so far. So a lot of it has to do with how are you marketing yourself? How are you messaging to your customers? How does your website look? How does your store look? How is your visual merchandising? How are your sales tactics? All those things like that, because you could be having one level of success, but there's ways to do things to improve to get you to the next level. And that's where I come in.
Tell us your backstory. How did you get into retail sales and why?
Oh, I've been in retail since, like I said, 35 years, since I was 16. So that's something that I've wanted to do for a very long time. I actually went to school, Purdue University, and have a degree, and actually this degree in retailing. Like, there was a degree in retailing. But you have a degree in retailing? I'm like, yes, I do. I have a BA in science, bachelor science degree in retailing. So retail is in my blood. So it's something that I liked when I was young and went to I was a sales associate. I just loved the fact of selling. I love the fact of being fashion. You could have impact on people's lives that way. And then I just started doing more research on it and then ended up going to Purdue, which has one of the top retail schools in the country. And I have realized what a great career it could be, because there's so many different paths you can do. And so I wanted to be a buyer at first. And that sounds so glamorous, right? I want to be a buyer. But buyers are never home. Buyers are always on the road. And all they do is crunch numbers. So you see them in the fashion shows and all the high-end fashion shows are great, which is a great perk of the job, but then they're going home or going to the office and crunching numbers for 4 weeks. So it's not really what I really wanted to do. So I wanted to get more in the trenches. And so I ended up going into management, retail management, with numerous brands like Ann Taylor and Express and The Gap. And then I've gone from there, just growing my business, growing my acumen to the retail industry. And the one thing that I started to do that I loved was visual merchandising. And that became my career trajectory, where I loved the fact I was talented. You could be creative. And when you really visually merchandise a store and your sales increase because of what you did, it's a great feeling. So understanding that marketing has more to do than emails and social media, with your visual merchandising can really impact your bottom line. And I just fell in love with that. And that's kind of where I've grown my career from there. So a lot of my strategies, a lot of the things that I do with my clients, I do based on that, based on your visuals, based on the visual aspect of your business, and they go from there.
What is something that we as consumers, we don't know about the retail industry that we should?
So much. That's a lot. It's hard work. That is hard work. And that those people you see that ringing up your dress and tailor, or at the supermarket ringing up your groceries, is a lot that goes before you even walk in the door, a lot that goes into it. And there's a lot of planning in retail. There's a lot of things that you don't see, where you may be at the store at 10 o'clock, we'll be in there since 7. And we're doing things in the store to really create an atmosphere for you, getting our apparel out, training our staff, doing price marks, looking at our business. And it actually is run like a business. So from the DM all down, there's a lot that goes into it before you even walk into the door. So to appreciate the fact that when a person's ringing you up, 50 steps happen before you walk into that building. So that's the biggest thing I think a lot of people don't understand is it takes a lot of planning, it takes a lot of teamwork, a lot of organization to just run a simple retail store.
To your ideal client, and who is your ideal client?
My ideal client is an independent retail owner who wants to scale to the next level, 6 figures and above, who hasn't had some success, but again, has reached that plateau and really wants to invest in having someone help them get to that next level. And they're willing to invest, and they're understanding that they need that help. They need that different perspective. They need that professional perspective that someone who's been there before and done it before to get them where they want to be. And someone who's willing to do the work and who's teachable and someone who's creative and understands that things can be outside the box and willing to run with that.
There are so many brands and businesses that are dominating. Talk about a brand or business that's dominating that you admire and why.
Well, that's real easy. Savage Fenty X from Rihanna. That is my favorite retail brand out there, which is the Fenty line and the Savage X, which are both two. If you're not familiar, Fenty is her makeup line. Savage X is her lingerie clothing line. And I love what she's doing. She's on top of all trends. She's on top of her customer. She really knows her customer. She really knows what they want. She really is unapologetic about her customer, who they are, and what her brand stands for. And she's not afraid to market. Like everybody saw the Super Bowl, she pulled out her makeup compact, which I thought was brilliant. If you follow her on LinkedIn, she had I think it was the Friday before the Super Bowl, right before it, she had an assembly line of footballs being covered in all her different colors of foundation. I mean, it was just such brilliant to say, hey, I'm going to be there to really tie into her audience, her brand. And because of that Super Bowl performance, I don't know if you know the stat, but her Google search went up 800% just for the Fenty line. Like, what's Fenty? I want to know more about it, worldwide. So I really admire her. And also what I like about her brand is that she's made $1 billion online. And so everybody's talking about how e-commerce is taking over the brick and mortar space, and e-commerce is the future, which it is. It's part of it. But she understands what I always believe is brick and mortar retail is not dead. It's very viable. And if a brand really wants to be successful and really wants to scale, they have to get physical. And for someone who made $1 billion online, now she has her own specialty stores of her Savage Fenty line. She opened her stores starting last year. She's gone brick and mortar. So she understands the importance of really getting in front of her customer and her client and building that brand recognition in the physical space. So she's proving my point that it doesn't make a difference how well you are online. To be truly successful and to grow, you have to go brick and mortar. So I just love her brand and everything that they do.
Fill in the blank. Thank you, pandemic, because.
Ooh. Thank you, pandemic, because you allowed a lot of people like me who've been in the rat race of corporate America to look at themselves and value their gifts and talents and go out on their own and take the courage, force us to take the courage to step out on our own and know that instead of building someone else's dream, we could be building our own. So a lot of us probably wouldn't be doing that right now. I know I probably wouldn't be doing that right now if I didn't get laid off because of COVID. So I started my business, but it was part-time. But then COVID kind of made me I need to take this more seriously because I have to. And it gave me the courage to step forward. So I think that's the one thing that came out of it.
Nichole, what is your zone of genius?
Creativity. I'm a very creative person. And my way of seeing things others do not see. That's what makes me really good at my job. I can go into anyone's store, anyone's website, any business and look at it, take a view and see what's opportunities you can build upon and opportunities that you need to change, and then create a plan to implement that. So that's my zone of genius. To be able to see things other people don't see and find creative solutions to fix the problem or to build on what's working.
I want you to have a monologue. I want you to name this person, living or not, and they've inspired you so much. Who is that person and what are you saying to that person?
That's an interesting question. I'll just keep it in the business realm. And the person who's admired me, one of the most has been Tyler Perry. He has admired me as from knowing his entire story the way I do, where he came from, where he is now, being literally a self-made billionaire against all the odds in an industry that really doesn't want him there. And so I really admire the fact that he didn't care and that he was willing to be uncomfortable and do whatever he needed to do to get his dream forward. And that one of the biggest things about him, I admire that he also gives back. He is the first one to hire a Black African-American actress who's not working, actress not working, and he continues to hire them. So you watch any of his movies, any of his plays, any of his TV shows with the same people, right? He hires the same people. How he took care of Cicely Tyson and giving her respect. So he has no problem giving back to the community that he knows brought him where he is. And he commands the respect. He's brilliant, he's creative, and he knows it, and he doesn't apologize for it. So I really admire him for his story and being a businessman and making himself who he is today against, like I said, any industry that didn't want him there, that made fun of him, that ridiculed him, now that praises him.
Let's talk about becoming Nichole Sims. How did you become?
I would say through my journey of all those different things I had to go through my life. Only child. So that brings its own challenges within itself, blessings as well as challenges, because you see the world obviously differently than most of your friends because they have siblings. So they have to share things and they have different ways of viewing the world, where I was just me and my parents my whole life. And shaping that and being the kind of person where I was shy, I didn't speak my mind, I was kind of a pushover, to being a person who will speak her mind, who will ask questions, because you've learned that you have to respect yourself first and speaking your mind and asking questions and being really inquisitive and not allowing people to talk to you in kind of way comes from respecting yourself. I had to learn that early on in my teen and early 20s. So that's having become the person that I am inquisitive. I will ask you questions. I don't take things for face value. I will challenge you, but I also have to do it respectfully because I was raised right to be respectful to people and to honor people's different opinions, but also have opinions of my own, and not be afraid to express them. So that's the journey. That person I've become is someone who speaks their mind, someone who has compassion for people, because I was shown little compassion in school. I was bullied. So I understand how that feels when someone feels that they have no one to talk to, they're alone. I make out my way to, we're like, when we're at the 1 Million Black Women's orientation, and I saw people who are by themselves. I made sure I said, "Hey, how you doing? Hey, what you think about the assignment?" So because there's somebody no one's talking to them, and I make sure that I did. I know how that feels, and the face lights up, and they talk to you, and you meet new people that way. But I know how it feels when people don't acknowledge you. It can be very cliquish sometimes, just naturally, and I dealt with that, and so I become the person that I'll seek you out, I'll talk to you, and I'll make sure that I speak. So that's been the journey of my person, to respect other people, but I will speak my mind and deserve respect myself.
You talked about the 1 Million Black Women, which is the Goldman Sachs program, Black in Business. Talk about what that means to you.
It's a great honor. When I got the acceptance email, I'm like, oh my goodness, it's going to be great because of just the name itself, Goldman Sachs. You know what it stands for. It's just so prestigious, and they know about business and they know about entrepreneurship, and the fact that they saw something in me and my business just really made me feel, good and seen. And what we're learning in these classes is amazing. And it's really showing you, what it really means to be a business owner, because I've been through coaching programs. I'm in a coaching program right now, and they've been good, but they never really taught me how to run a business. They teach you how to run, you either get better at a skill, how to sell, how to do a webinar, how to do all these things to bring you money and revenue, but they don't teach you, okay, now you have this money revenue. Now, how do you do it to keep sustainable and to scale? They don't teach you that stuff, so they teach you these great skills, but what Goldman Sachs program is doing on Black in Business is teaching us how to be business owners and how to actually run our businesses so we can either sell it or can be, like they say, becoming a founder to a CEO. I thought being a founder was great. They're like, no, you want to be a CEO because you want to have this thing. I'm like, oh, I've never been told that. I've been told that you want a founder or CEO kind of interchangeable, really, but they're not. So just giving us a different mindset. And seeing that they understand that the Black female entrepreneur, especially the solo entrepreneur like I am, needs a little bit more guidance, a little bit more help, and a little more help because we are doing this by ourselves. And it's special because a lot of people are our counterparts in different, cultures. They get that help and it's just there for them to the taking while we have to scrap, find, and really claw for it. So I really am honored to be here and really am excited to be here, and I'm learning a lot.
Thank you for that. The best advice you were ever given?
To give yourself grace, because I'm very hard on myself. And so I internalize failures. It's like, no, you are not the failure. You just failed at that moment in time. And to give yourself grace, because one thing, if you ever, and listeners are actually coming from a 9 to 5 or corporate, becoming a business owner, the mindset is completely different. And we're taught from really high school all the way up through college to work for someone. And everything is to be an employee, whether you're a CEO or not, you're still working for someone if you work for a corporation. But to be your business owner is a total flip and pivot. And the things that made you a rock star at your 9 to 5, not necessarily going to be things that make you a rock star as a business owner. And I had to learn that. And it was very hard for me because I could like put my head down and do something and I'm getting those results. But as a business owner, I'm like, well, why did that work the way it really works? Because it's different. And it's like, okay, so give yourself grace. Is going to be a learning curve that I'm still on, but I've gotten better. And understanding that your talents are still there and your gifts are still there, but how you use them and implement them in your business will be different. And it will not automatically just click right away. It will take time to give yourself grace, to give yourself that time, and then keep going forward, and then don't give up because it will succeed eventually.
Let's pivot to an attitude of gratitude. And I want you to have a thank fest. So have at it.
Thanking my parents, first and foremost, because I would not be here without them. They were the biggest supporters of my entire life, financially, spiritually, emotionally. Just thank my parents. Thank my friends. I had some really good friends in my life who were supportive throughout my whole entire life. Some people I've been friends with for 20-something years. One of my friends I've been friends with for 30-something years. So we've been friends a very long time. And so thankful for her being there. Thankful for some of my friends who are male friends, for the male perspective. I think a lot of my pastors that I've had throughout the whole years have poured into me and has strengthened me as a Christian, and strengthened me as my belief system. I think people that I've worked with who were not so great bosses, but taught me some great lessons along the way, and some fantastic bosses who really took it under their wing and really made concessions for me and paved the way for me. So I thank for all those people with that. I think the coaches that I've had, I've learned something, these coaching program that I've had. So I've learned some things about myself, about business, about how to sell, about how to run certain things. So I think thankful for all of that. I'm thankful for having a church home that I can go to, that, when things are going crazy, I can come in and recenter myself. Is really, really a blessing to me. So, yeah.
What is the best decision you've made as a leader?
Well, I would say the best decision I made as a leader is to be one who strives for communication and leads by example. So I will not tell someone to work under me or works for me that's something that I'm not willing to do. And I've shown that. And I've gained the respect of people through all walks of life and all walks of my career for that. And that I respect communication. I don't just accuse, I ask questions. And that's where that inquisitive part of my nature really kicks in, because you have to ask questions to find out how other people are thinking, feeling, and why they did something before you react. And so I pride myself on doing that. And so as a leader, I've become the person people can talk to no matter where I am, no matter what I've done, no matter what I've worked for, what my clients or anyone, they know they can come and talk to me because I'm going to be fair, and I'm going to be open, I'm going to be honest, and I'm going to listen. And that I am willing to get my hands dirty and really put in the work.
Speaking of legacy, when it's all said and done, how do you want to be remembered?
As a loving daughter, a really, really great friend, and a business owner that carved her way and changed the face and the look of retail and the industry. Because not a lot of people who look like me in the industry. There are some, but not a lot. But I wanted someone to say she changed the face of it, and then she changed the way for the better and left a mark on the industry for the good.
Nichole, if you lost everything and you had to rebuild in 30 days, how would you rebuild and in what industry and why?
Hmm, that's a good question. I will probably rebuild in the same industry, but a little different, more the training side of it, probably doing more courses and classes and training, still helping independent retail owners, helping business owners because that's what I love and that's what I like to do. That's what I'm good at. So that's like a low-hanging fruit for me. But I'll probably do more of the training side and do more courses to be more of an educator that way.
What is your biggest takeaway from our conversation today? What do you want the audience to leave with?
Two things. One about entrepreneurship and being a business owner is going to be challenging, but it's doable and possible if you have the passion for it and to really hone in on your gifts and not what people are telling you to do, but what you know you can do, what you want to do, and that fills you up with passion. Because at the end of the day, if you don't have the why, if your why isn't what's driving you, you're going to quit because that's what's really going to drive you to success. And that I am an expert in the retail industry and that I can help people with their businesses and that I am the go-to for success and growth for an independent retailer.
Self care, we have heard, is physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional. Which one is speaking to you today?
Spiritual and then physical, because you have to give yourself rest. Because without rest, you're going to burn out. But without prayer and without my relationship with God, I don't think I will be, the rest won't do anything because my mind will be wrong and then my spirit will be wrong and everything will be wrong. But when that's in alignment with everything else takes care of itself. And that gives you self care because you're at peace and you can't put a value on peace.
What problem exists in the world today that you'd like to solve?
Oh, there's so many. My biggest one is, well, I have two big problems, if I can do that. Because two that ones we have. First is homelessness. Being here in California, it's very, very rampant. But not just like getting people off the streets, but getting people off the streets in a way of respect and dignity and having beautiful, low-cost housing for these people, as well as mental care and skill sets. And then next thing is equality of opportunity when it comes to finances and when it comes to the arts. There's a lot of talented people out here in these streets, a lot of talented people in the African American community that just don't have the funding to go to a Juilliard or have the funding to go to a W. Allen school or have the funding to do these things. And so that's hindering us from seeing their gift. And so I would love to solve the problem where I have the money or Foundation has the money, someone has the money. And if you have the talent and the drive, you can live out your dream instead of saying, well, I have to do this because I can't afford to go where I really want to do. And I think that's happens in our community more than not. And I'll love to eradicate that.
What feeds your soul?
The word, prayer, and laughter.
What breaks your heart?
Inequality, racism, and hatred.
What can we do right now to support creative visual solutions?
Well, you can go to my website and check out everything there, which is Nichole Sims, the boutique expert.com. And to check out me there, or you can reach out to me and say hello at IG, like Creatives Solutions. That's Creatives with an S Solutions, and DM me and say hello, or and pick up either get on my email list and we can connect further that way.
How do you impact people's lives daily?
Encouragement. I'm a natural encourager, so I encourage people that I see, perfect strangers. I encourage my friends, reach out with a text message, say how you doing, just check out on people, just to encourage people. Because sometimes you don't know when someone just needs a smile, someone just say a nice kind word to them so they can like, you know what people are going through. And so I like to encourage people. I get compliments. I love to do that. Somebody with a great outfit on, shoes, hair, whatever. I want to make sure, hey, I see you, and to make their day.
What is the biggest obstacle you have overcome?
There's been a lot of those. Yeah, there's so many of those. I would just say right now, just put it in perspective, sometime at a point in my life where I didn't have the support that I needed. My parents were there, but I moved out of the house at 18. So my parents are in Wisconsin and I moved all over the country. So I've never been home. since I left. So, I mean, I've been home visiting, but I haven't lived there since I left. So sometimes your parents just can't be for you. And then when you need support when you're living 5,000 miles away or 300 miles away, and is having to still have a problem be solved and have something take care of something, or your friends weren't there for you, your roommates weren't there for you, and you really had to come up for, it on just between you and God. I had to do that. So that's the biggest obstacle that I had to overcome is just when I didn't have support, but I still needed to get something done and digging deep and just finding a way.
And what do you need right now that you don't have to move the needle forward?
I actually have what I need to move for. I just have to move it. So I actually, when I think about that, like I have resources, I have guidance, I have direction. I just have to utilize it correctly to move the needle forward.
Looking forward, where do you hope your business will be in the next year?
The next year, definitely over 6 figures and with a membership that really allows a hub for a lot of retail owners to come in and get guidance, training, and coaching together.
So let's take a snapshot over the last 30 days. What was your biggest win?
I'll go more with the financials or the business where my clients that I have in my retail VA program, we have gotten her from really great results for the past month, and her excitement and appreciation of seeing those numbers and appreciating what I'm doing and just like the correspondence and just feeling really good about, oh my God, thank you so much for what's going on in my business, because it was just staying stagnant and she knew that she needed some help with it. But sometimes she also does another job full time. And so her retail business on the side. And so to see the possibilities of it and to help her get to the next level has been really, really rewarding because she's just very excited about these numbers are possible because she didn't think they would or be.
And how do you celebrate your wins?
Chocolate. I love chocolate. And pampering myself, spending time in nature, things like that, things that I don't get to do on a very often. So, but when I do have a win, I do celebrate with something sweet. I love sweets, so that's one thing I do. And then I do either something in nature or pamper myself with something that is just for me, like either with the nails done or something like that. It's really nice for myself.
Talk about mental wellness and entrepreneurship.
They go hand in hand because this journey is crazy and it can be really nuts and really lonely and really polarizing, and you have to get your mind right, and if your mind is not right it can drag you down and make things worse and make you kind of like get into a hole. So your mental wellness has to be clear, has to be strong. You have to get help, you have to talk to some people, you have to make sure that you're, even if like your solopreneurs were doing it alone, but we can't be alone. You have to get in a group, or you have to talk to a friend, have some kind of accountability partner. I have two now to make sure that you're staying on track. Because if you don't get that, you're gonna just get into a really deep dark hole. It's gonna get any better for you. So really getting your mind right, really getting the help that you need to get out of the cloud and be clear and focused will really help you become a better entrepreneur.
Nichole, if you conducted this interview, what is the one question you would have asked yourself? I want you to ask the question and answer it.
I would have asked myself, so why you, what makes you so special when it comes to what you do in your business? Why should a business owner or retail owner go to you to help them with business and help them see results? And then I would say, because of my decades of experience, my attention to detail, my ability to train and coach anyone, and my passion for the industry, and that I can really take a snapshot of your business and really give you the insider tools and tips that you need to turn things around and to build.
What book would you recommend and why?
There's a couple of those. Believe Bigger. I would recommend that. I'm gonna get the actual author. Believe Bigger, because it goes through the author's journey of, on the outside, she was a very successful lawyer, thinking she had it all together, but on the inside, she was not. And she had a tendency to have very bad relationships, and how God had taken her through a whole bunch of different things to get to where she is now. And the fact that her biggest challenge was to believe bigger for her life and for herself to get to the next level in her life. and that she had to overcome challenges by believing in herself more than anything else. And that was the key to success.
And I believe that author, is it Marshawn Evans
Yes.
Daniels?
Yes.
Okay. So we just want to shout out to that book, Believe Bigger. We've come to the part of our interview, and it's called Rapid Round of Fun. And I'm going to give you a series of questions, and I'd like you to give me very quick answers. If there's something you desire not to answer, feel free to say pass. Are you ready for the Rapid Round of Fun?
Sure.
Your ideal car.
Porsche Cayenne SUV.
Your comfort food.
Pizza.
The last movie you saw.
John Wick 4.
Your first job.
Burger King.
You relax doing what?
Watching movies on the couch.
Your favorite singer or rapper?
Favorite singer is Whitney Houston, and favorite rapper is Tupac.
Your favorite dance song?
Oh, I have too many of those. You could say Remember the Time by Michael Jackson.
What food you eat every week, no matter what?
Frozen waffles.
Work out or hit the couch?
A little bit of both. But a little bit of both. I'd rather hit the couch though, but I need to work out.
Nichole Sims, thank you so much for joining us on Black Entrepreneur Experience Podcast. Before we let you go, share with our audience the best way for them to connect with you and to do business with you. And feel free to leave all your social media handles.
Sure. So the best way to contact me is through my website, which again is Nichole, Nichole, Sims, Simms, theboutiqueexpert.com. Another great way to reach out to me is through Instagram, which is what I'm on mostly, which is Creatives Solutions. And my email is NicholeSims@creativevisualsolutions.com.
Thank you, Nichole. That's a wrap.
Thank you for listening and subscribing to Black Entrepreneur Experience. We would love for you to leave a review and rating on iTunes and share with your friends. For show notes and more episodes, go to www.beepodcast.com. Join us next Wednesday, and remember, green is the new black. So keep your bank accounts and your business in the black.